Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brainwashed series. Um, Today's guest is really interesting person. I just met her recently, actually, and I'm really pumped to have her here. It's going to be really interesting conversation, and yeah, just welcome Sarah Thompson.
Adam, I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. All right, so we had a little conversation before we jump into this interview. So I would love to like continue the conversation like with your story and like your journey. Where do you, how did you get into entrepreneurship? It's really interesting that you just literally jump into entrepreneurship like completely from uh it wasn't even like meant to work or something like that work out for you, right? So it's really interesting that you just like literally get into it by kind of like accident. So tell us a little bit of like what was the first thing that you actually started, and like what was those limiting beliefs, if you even had any, that work like they've been going through your head, and you had to deal with them from the past programming, from our school and the system and all of that. And I don't know how you said, yeah, you said that it started in a COVID, but during that time you probably had your family already, right? So how it is this whole thing with your, you know, even with your family and everything's working for you, and how you what you planning even for your future, and so on.
Right. Yeah, like I told you, I discovered online marketing because of COVID because my hours were, I worked in healthcare
Hmm.
and my hours were cut. And so I downloaded TikTok. I discovered making money online. That's when I discovered passive income. And I was 35 years old. And I just remember discovering passive income, and I felt like I just told you, I felt like I had been lied to my whole life
Wow.
because the only way I had ever been taught to make money was to work more hours, or
Hmm.
get a better degree
Yep.
or work harder. And I had worked my whole life. I mean, my
Hmm.
parents were loving and hardworking. I had excellent work ethic. I showed up 15 minutes early to work. I gave it my best. I had excellent performance reviews at work. And I got like a 15-cent raise in a pizza party. That did not change my life. And
Hmm.
so when I discovered, I mean, it did. I'm not trying to sound, awful. And,
Yeah.
and I do think that there is value in hard work. I'm not diminishing that at all. But when I discovered passive income, there was a little bit of like, not anger because I didn't know who to be mad at, but I was like, wow, why didn't I know about this? Like
Hmm.
this, but because at first, even when I first discovered affiliate marketing, I was like, okay, I need to really take a lot of training and time to discover how to make passive income. But then I found out that, like, no, you really don't. Like, you can really be uneducated about it and start making passive income. It should not be hidden
That's
at all,
really,
and
you
really
know,
not hidden.
yeah, sorry to stopping you, but that's really interesting. Literally, like, because everything what we are taught in a school is you have to have a degree, you have to have a something, diploma or whatever, to actually be able to do something. But in
Mhm.
on business side, probably not in every area, I would say, because still, like, when you're coming to different areas of the business, you has to get, you know, not even like education, like educate being educated, but more like having a practice, real world practice, right? But that's what is not handed to us, especially in a school, right? We have to like literally do it ourselves, because like when we finish our schools, like we are completely like, this is the world, just go and figure it out. and nobody prepare anything for you basically.
Exactly. Yeah. When I was in high school, which I was a good student, I was smart and
Hmm.
I mean, I made good grades. You know, I'm proud of that. But it was pretty much when I was in high school, if you didn't go to college, you were going to fail. Like you might as well go get a job at a gas station. I mean, you were not going to succeed unless you had a degree, you know, and even like standardized testing, you know, the ACT, you had to have this score. And now
Hmm.
looking back, I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to me now.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
literally that has no value.
Yeah.
Um, it just, and I think again, like I have a 16-year-old daughter and she's very smart and she's very motivated. I'm so happy for her.
Hmm.
And while I tell her like college is a good option and there is a time and a place for college, you
Yep.
know, obviously, but there's also no rush. Like you can learn a
Hmm.
lot from just going out into the real world and discovering what you're passionate about.
Hmm.
Who do you want to be? You know, what do you want to
Yep.
help people with? I think it's very limiting. And I also think, I mean, I'm just going to say it. I feel like college is largely a scam. I feel like it
Yeah.
is. I feel like it's a huge money maker, and they sell us. They do. They sell
Yeah,
us.
they do.
They
Yeah.
sell you a feeling. They sell you a community. When really it's just overpriced, outdated education.
Yeah. Yeah. I listen recently, I think Joe Rogan podcast with I'm not sure who was there with, but anyway, there was a conversation that basically they didn't know how to screw up the older generation anymore, so they basically created the you know college student loans and so on. And now, like, how massive is the student loan right now? Like, like I don't even know. um but yeah,
Mm.
this is like, this is really yeah, how many times, or have you ever felt like that some of the subjects that you learn in school is completely like doesn't even make sense to learn, like for your life, like completely nonsense? But yeah, this is like you know what I mean.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, well, even so, I went into physical therapy, right? I went into physical therapy. That's the form of healthcare I went into. And to be a physical therapist now, you have to have a doctorate degree. Completely useless classes. I mean, they're wanting you to take pharmaceutical classes. As a physical therapist, you need to have awareness of
Hmm.
what medicines are. You need to maybe know some specific ones, but not, you don't need 2 extra years of classes for that. You learn more about on the job training. Or if you
Yeah.
want to get specialized in something, you should go to that specialization. But yeah, a lot of it is completely useless.
Hmm.
And I'll even say, and I feel like I feel like it's the whole system because I
Hmm.
don't think teachers are bad. I think
No, no,
teachers
there are bad
are
teachers,
do things
but yeah.
right. But I mean, I feel like we all need to update how we learn. I actually shared something on Facebook yesterday from a university who was offering a master's certification in digital marketing, and it had like a 10-week curriculum, and I was like, this could take you 5 days. You could do
Hmm.
this in 5 days. I'm
Hmm.
not saying you could master it,
Yep.
but you're not going to master it in 10 weeks either because
Of course.
mastering it takes application and then you
Hmm.
learn.
Yep.
It,
Yep.
it's just so I could, yeah,
This is, yeah,
useless.
yeah, you completely right. And you know, it's really interesting also, like, that most people think that they need money to start a business, right? And I've been reading about that most, like, the best way to start a business is literally start a affiliate marketing, because most of the affiliate um or multi-level marketing basically companies, they provide free courses and education and everything about how to actually do and sell and everything, basically what you need to be successful selling their products or selling their courses or whatever, like literally coaching. Or so let's talk about, like, did you have in your, like, programming, or so how I would say it, that money are actually important to have to become a successful in, like, in a business or so?
Well, So when I got started, like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. I had never even made a video online before.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also didn't have a lot of money, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that there is value in investing in yourself. And when I say that, investing in someone who has the same success you're after,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but it still doesn't take a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to say in answer to your question, somebody one time I heard say, you can either pay in time or you can pay in dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So I have friends who have made, I have a friend who made their first six figures online and they never invested in a
Mm-hmm.
mentor,
Mm-hmm.
but they invested, their time investment was very, very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
And so to say you don't have to have any money to get started, that's true. But the caveat to that is if you're willing to sacrifice 6 months of 2 to 3 hours a day learning and
Mm-hmm.
trying and failing. But affiliate marketing is definitely, in my opinion, the easiest way for people to start
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have to have any kind of authority. You don't have to create anything really. You have to set up, a basic system. A lot of that can be free to set up. And yes, like for me, I have affiliates who promote my program, my training courses, and I want to help them promote those courses. And so you're going to get help from successful creators because they want you to be better.
Yep. Yep.
I will argue it with anybody. Like I see people all the time being like, you need to create your own digital product. That's the easiest way for beginners to make money. And I'm just like, no, it's not. It's not. It's a great way, but it's not the easiest and the best for beginners. You can quickly transition to other things, but affiliate marketing is the best and easiest way to start. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is just because like they are that you don't have to have like courses or like because like what I know or what I can see um or like other products that also like people who are providing affiliate programs, they are also giving you resources to actually use for that. So you pretty much like just have to publish, pretty much you just take care of the traffic, right? So this is like doing a TikTok or doing an Instagram post, right? Or Facebook post or YouTube, or really focusing mainly on the traffic, and all of the rest is pretty much take care of, right?
Yeah, after you set up your system, yes, very much
Mm-hmm.
so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once there's always a tech part, and that limits a lot of people, but once that part is set up, really the only thing you have to do is focus on traffic. Focus
Mm-hmm.
on helping people.
Yep.
As I tell people all the time, affiliate marketers are problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
They are not solution makers, they are problem solvers.
Yep.
So, Adam, like if you and I were talking and you're like, Sarah, I really like the camera that you just used for your podcast, which I don't even have my camera hooked up. But I'm like, oh yeah, it's great. Here's all the features. Let me just send you a link to it because I think you'd love it. That's an affiliate marketer. That is all you're doing. You're not creating the solution to the problem. You're just sharing it.
Yeah.
You're sharing what worked. That's why it's so simple.
Yeah. So for those, for example, who would be planning to do something similar to you, what you do, what would be the best way or easiest way to actually get started?
With affiliate marketing, the best way to get started, always, well, I mean, with a basic understanding of what it is, definitely. I think that goes without saying. I think a lot of people want to skip the step of figuring out who they actually want to help
Mm-hmm.
and how they want to help them. Because I think a lot of people go after the money before they go after helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And so to start with affiliate marketing, the very first thing that you want to do is choose, how do I want to help people? And to choose that, you take a good look at yourself and you think about like what obstacles have I overcome or what obstacles do I need to overcome?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can either share with people how you changed, or I think what's really fun, you can take people on a journey with you because
Mm-hmm.
especially, I mean, people are just naturally nosy, so on social media,
Yep.
if you post a video and you're like, hey, I am giving up sugar for 60 days. So follow me right now I'm going to be posting at
Yeah.
least 2 times a day, telling you what I'm doing, how I feel, all these things. Follow me. I'm going on a journey.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, people can't wait to see you fail. They can't wait to see how you feel. They can't wait to see what you're doing. They can't wait to see how much weight you lose. So take them on that journey with you. And then along the way, you're just going to get to share every single resource. And I also feel like that's the best way, because some people, I think a lot of people, feel like if they hear the word marketing, they think of sales, and salespeople are kind of sleazy sometimes, right?
Mm,
So it makes them feel icky about selling. But as the affiliate, it's okay to change your mind.
mhm.
You can totally promote a product. You're like, hey, I'm starting with this product. I don't know anything about it, guys. I'm just doing it. If you're interested in it, check it out. Right? Like, you're not saying I 100% believe in this product. You're saying I'm going to start here. 2 weeks later, if you change your mind, you can just be like, well, that didn't work. But now I'm trying this,
Right.
because you're
Yeah.
just being honest. You're not being a
Mhm.
salesperson. You have no commitment to that company that you're being an affiliate for. You're
Mhm.
just using it and telling other people about it.
Right. Yeah. Like in my opinion, if you well, it's probably going to be a differentiate based on like, what type of business you're running. But yeah, I think like when it comes to, you know, affiliate stuff, you don't really need a lot of experience when it comes to like sales and, product creation and so on. But if you do something else than affiliate, I wouldn't if you are not willing to learn how to sell, you shouldn't even jump off your job. I'm telling you that right now,
Mhm.
because sales are so important to understand, like to actually like be good at sales. That without selling you cannot make any money, you cannot raise any money. So this is the number one skill set that you have to really really develop. Either way, I think when it comes to affiliate marketing, if you want to really scale it, you still have to start jumping into like things like webinars, masterclasses, or something like that, which is
Mhm.
kind of sales, right? This
Yes.
is
Oh,
pretty much sales.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So just I wanted to bring this point here, because I think this is like, if you want to go to like you know even a million, I think you would have to start doing like this type of webinars and so on. Yeah. But so tell me, so what was your first product actually? What you been selling?
My first affiliate product, or my first product?
Yeah, your first affiliate stuff. What did you decide to go for?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because my first affiliate, I mean, I was desperate to make money.
Uh-huh.
Desperate. I had to, right? Like, I invested in a training program. I would invest in that training program over and over and over again, by the way. Like, that small investment, the return on that investment was massive. Still
Mm-hmm.
changes my life to this day. But I did not know what I wanted to promote at all. But
Mm-hmm.
I also knew I couldn't stay stuck there. And so I started promoting like a brain training offer for dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I like dogs. Okay. I don't want anybody to
Yep.
get mad. But after a couple of weeks of promoting it, and I learned by doing that. I learned how to do lots of things. But I realized it was not at all something that I wanted to continue to do in the long term. And so I started thinking about what I did enjoy learning about. And it took me back to how I felt when I discovered passive income. And so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I'm going to start talking about that. That's what
Yep.
I want to talk about. That's what I want to help people with. And so I signed up to be an affiliate
Mm-hmm.
for it was called the Business Builder Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great affiliate company, because it had a front end offer and then upsells, and the company does that work for you. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't all I had to do was tell people about a $7 training.
Yeah.
And the company did the sales. That's why it's great to start as an affiliate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I believed in that product. And I also want to say here, for anybody who is interested in affiliate marketing, um, if you want to be a super affiliate, which is where, like, whenever you said what you said about sales, I became a super affiliate whenever I figured this part out. give people bonuses that will help
Mm-hmm.
them have success faster and easier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was a huge thing for me. So I
Combining
created
it. Yeah, yeah.
huh?
Can you make it more clear? Like combining it
Yeah.
with the product that you promote from other people?
Yes. So for it was the same product, 15-day business builder challenge. I was promoting it. I really liked it. Well, I told people that, I'd went through the course and I made a checklist of things that the course taught that I needed to do to be successful. And so I created this checklist, I think inside of Canva. And it was my notes I took while I was going through the course. I just put them in a Canva doc, little checklist. I did like a quick reference sheet to like what you need to do. And I told people that they could they could purchase it for $10, or if they just purchase the $7 training, I'm happy to send them that resource for free to help them have success faster and
Mm-hmm.
easier. I think I started that. I think I did that on like a Thursday. Yes. And I did like a weekend. I was like, I'll do it this weekend, never thinking it would matter. Adam, I'm here to tell you it was a no brainer because I put $10 on it. I totally made that number up. I didn't know. I mean, it probably was worth that at least because they were good notes and I knew what I was doing. But that perceived value was massive. And it
Mm-hmm.
was something, here again, I'm going back to passive income. I created that checklist one time. It was a digital product and it made me money over and over and over again because the value helped many people and all I had to do was share it.
Yep, yep.
So, and that is a sales tactic because bonuses and worksheets and perceived value. I mean, I learned all that as I got started.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Anytime you can help people more, they're gonna love that. They're gonna want it.
Yeah, yeah. And that way you're gonna even differentiate yourself basically, and um, I know that some people are basically gonna buy even the product from you because of those bonuses again, basically because they
Mhm.
want what you might have to offer. So yeah,
Right.
this is really 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 great point to bring. This is that was super powerful. So when did you start it? What was like your first uh, let's say like a roadblock that you had to overcome in inside of you? Like what was because we all of us know that basically business is 90% about mindset and 10% tactics pretty much. So let's dive into those like limiting beliefs and help people to actually like get them through them and like help them to start actually making money with other people products.
Sure. Yes. I think I told you earlier, I really did not believe I would have success doing this. I was very middle class, very, thought I was just going to suffer through life working for paycheck to paycheck. And so, uh, whenever I considered investing in a training program, I overthought it. I overcomplicated it.
Mhm.
Of course, I told my husband about it, and luckily, I'm married to a great man who was like, "Yeah, Sarah, do it. Like, you can do it. I know you can." My coach, my business advisor, he asked me, "Sarah, how much money do you think, like, how much money would you like to make?"
Mhm.
And I said, $500 a month. And he told me, as the first time I'd ever heard the term limiting belief, he said,
Mhm.
"Well, I want you to crush that limiting belief."
Mhm.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Sarah, I'm telling you right now, you can make $1,000 a day."
Mhm.
And I literally laughed out loud at him.
Mhm.
And he said, "Okay, I'm going to challenge you." He said, "Because I believe in you, I want you for 3 months to not tell anybody what you're doing. You're not even open for opinion on it. Don't talk about it. Just put blinders on and do this for 3 months because I believe this can be true." And Adam, I wish I could know, I wish I could go back in time and remember what feeling he gave me to make me want to do that because I had such a big limiting belief. But I worked 2 weeks full time, and after
Mhm.
taxes and health insurance, made barely over $1,000 every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And my first $1,000 that I made in a day was on a Saturday night when I was working, watching fireworks with my family. I had not worked at all that day, and
So crazy.
I can tell you right now, that nothing will crush a limiting belief more than somebody having belief in you and that
Mhm.
person at the same time challenging you to see that belief in yourself.
Mhm.
I don't, I can't, of course, I only have one story to tell. I only have one journey, but that limiting belief was huge. Now, the thing about limiting beliefs is that they don't stop after you crush one, right?
Mhm.
And it's very odd for me to say this, and I don't know what kind of people are going to be listening to this right now, whether they're beginners or, advanced. But right now, I'm at a block in my business where I have some guilt associated with money, and I've identified that I have limiting
Mhm.
beliefs because of guilt, because of my wonderful family who loved me and raised me and gave me this work ethic.
Mhm.
And I can, I've made in 1 month what they don't make in a year, and I feel
Mhm.
guilty about that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
But that's a limiting belief.
Yeah.
And so
You
I'm
start
working
basically
through that.
sabotaging your success. If you start like,
Absolutely.
mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these limiting beliefs, and it's even hard it's even hard to talk about it with friends I have that don't do business, because I think they almost kind of scoff at it, but it's real.
Mhm.
It's real. It's very real that I have an income cap because of me, not because of anything else. And so I'm actively working on that.
Yeah.
It's a mindset thing, it's a comfort thing, it's a nervous system thing. And the I w- 5 years ago, if somebody had said, it's 10% effort, 90% mindset, I would have rolled my eyes. Now, I will tell you 100% that is correct.
Mhm.
Because if your mind is working against you, your efforts they won't be near as good as they could be. I
Yeah. Yeah.
completely agree.
It's always the battle between those two things, right? You basically have to become the person to be able to put the effort effortlessly, basically to pursue what you actually uh, pursue the goal, basically.
Mhm.
Um, I know that too. We are playing like everybody has this type of moments, I think, or like this is a journey. Like there is not a destination because the journey is the destination, right?
Mhm.
And you basically upgrowing yourself every day, and it's not always easy, but you'll see um you will figure it out. Like eventually you're gonna get through it, and the I don't know you extremely personally, so I don't know how. I would love to help you with that, like
Yeah.
to give you some advices or something, but because I'm not attached to money as much. I don't care about money. Like I'm
Mm.
telling you that I don't care. I'm here to serve, literally. And the money is more like a benefit, like something that like is allowing me to become the person and serve more people,
Mhm.
right? So maybe that is the shift that you have to do also, like totally, like get like divorce from the income and all of that. And sometimes it's really hard because like we are from the beginning, we're struggling. I know exactly how you probably been going, what you've been going through at the beginning. Like my story at the beginning, like when I was growing up with my grandparents instead of my parents, because my parents been working like freaking three jobs to just get by. I couldn't even see them, so I have better relationship with my grandparents than with my parents actually. And it's like this is I didn't want to have that in my life. So that was the moment that I was like, I'm not going to stay in my country. I'm going to leave the country. I don't want to be around those people, and I'm going to do something completely different, right? And that was the moment for me, like when everything clicked. I had to start figuring out on my own, like because I went here by myself. Nobody, like I literally on my own. I was how old? I was 21 or something. 21, I think. It's like 7 years ago. Yeah, so I was, yeah, seven. Yeah, so and it was so difficult. I couldn't speak English, still struggling with it, but getting better and better each day. And that's the process. Like my goal is to get to US. I want to live in USA. This is like the best country ever.
Oh, yes, come on over.
Yeah. So and I'm this whole entrepreneurship journey is just so powerful and so amazing to be on, and we talking to with amazing people as you and other people that I'm having here on the show basically, and it's just so much fun because like we just that the way that we talk, we helping other people also because they can listen to us, they can break those false beliefs, they can figure out the things that actually stops them, and like encourage them to actually do the things and make it work for them, change their lives. This is amazing. Are you a Christian actually?
Yes. Okay. Okay. You said you're a Christian, right?
Yeah, I've been asking you, are you Christian?
Yes, and that's what I was wanting to share with you. So, can I share something? Can I
Oh,
share a
totally,
story?
yeah.
Okay. So I know that y'all don't know a lot about my story, right? Other than that, I was broke and didn't want to be broke anymore. So 2023, that's when I quit my job because I'd had so much success with affiliate marketing. I was making more money. I mean, like, and I also want to say this. My affiliate product was hot at that time. I just started that checklist. It was selling like crazy. Those hot offers are not a constant, okay? But I was making, as an affiliate, I was still only an affiliate, $5,000 to $8,000 a day. It was insane for a couple months. Okay, made more money ever in 2023 than I'd ever even imagined. 2023 is also when my family was involved in a really terrible ziplining accident in Jamaica. It was awful. My husband, who had been sober for 10 years, went into remission. He had to go to rehab for 5 weeks. It was I can't to tell you, it was the most terrible time of my life is an understatement. Okay. And so I figured out, because I know the people I help, money they think is their goal. But I always tell them, I'm like, you're going to have to find something that's not money. It's really not money that you want. It's really something else.
Yeah.
It's really something deeper. Money is a resource, but money cannot be your God.
No, yeah, totally.
And so I do this activity. I'm like, what's the 4 whys? Why do you want to make more money? And then you ask why? And so at one point in my business, I told one of my friends, my goal, I think, was to make $1 million in a year. And they were like, is that how you really feel? And I was like, I don't know. I don't really even know what I would do with that much money, because the year I made that much money was terrible for me. And so what I was going to tell you is my husband and I are like actually actively right now, like setting up plans for sober living homes for men and women who have been through rehab. And then also for like our community. I'm from Kentucky. I'm from a small town in Kentucky. And it's kind of the Bible Belt, right? There's churches on every corner, but there's still hungry people. And I can't, Adam, that's just my heart. I can't stand the thought of me having more than enough and somebody who lives 2 blocks over not like starving. That hurts my heart. And so I'm figuring out how to help people in those ways, because as a Christian, I know that if I ask for selfish reasons, I don't think God's going to bless that. I think God wants to bless my prosperity so I can use it for his kingdom. That's
beautiful.
why
Yeah.
I want to create more. And also, I want to help other people discover the freedom that passive income can give them, because I think the devil attacks the American family. I think that busyness is a disease. I think the devil wants moms and dads as distracted and as away from their kids as possible. And so if I can tell other women how they can make
let's talk about that. Let's talk about
Yeah.
that. Right?
Yeah.
Because
Let's talk.
we are taught basically that if you are not busy, you are not doing enough. For example, right? So let's talk about that, your perspective on it, and why is not true.
Whew. I mean, we could unload a lot here too. I say that all the time. It's just a distraction, and your distractions are what really is your downfall, truthfully. American women, and I know you're a man, so like we'll never have this perspective, but I was a working mom. I was blessed to have family that babysat my children for me. I never had to put them in daycare. So I never had that struggle. But even women, we are so wired to worry more about what they're doing, what other people are doing, instead of what we're doing. And so for me, I was smart. I enjoyed my work. I really loved my patients, but it was very unhealthy. It felt out of place for me to give the best of my time and energy and priorities to this schedule, to this boss, instead of my kids. And I was even one of the fortunate ones who wasn't answering to a daycare. Like I had, if my baby had the sniffles, I knew my mama was going to hold her all day and love her. Like, and it's because we've been sold this lie that you have to work, that if you're able to work, you should work. And it's just not true. And I've had plenty, I've had barely enough, and you just make it. And it's because you've got to trust that God will provide for that. And I know that sounds really lame, but it's true. But you do not have to, women do not have to leave their children to earn income for them or to even be valuable for them. Even without earning income, they can still have value. But like I told you, in high school, I was pretty much told if I didn't go to college and get a degree, I was useless. I might as well just, and it's not true. I don't know how the education system is there, but in America, we're told you want to everything is toward this system, right? Nobody tells girls in high school, if you want to, start a family and be a stay-at-home mom, that's awesome. There's a lot of value in that. It's looked down upon almost, which I do think that's changing. I think social media is changing that, but we're addicted to busyness. We're addicted to stress. We're addicted to feeling guilty if we do sit down. And that's not how we're designed at all. We're not designed for torture. I don't serve a God who wants us to suffer. I serve a God who wants really great things for us. Not the other way.
I don't think that he is even like, when you're reading the Bible there, like I'm still in that process of actually studying it and so on. So I'm not like completely, I'm not really like highly educated in that topic, but I love to be, because that's why I'm like just pointing it out. But he's saying in one of the sections that he doesn't want us to hustle all the time, right? That's the reason why he's even saying that there is the Sunday basically where we rest, basically the 7 days, right? So this is completely like set it up from the wrong perspective, basically, and it's all set it up against like us, pretty much. It's basically who's benefiting from this, right?
Exactly.
Who's benefiting? We don't. And if you like, there are so many people who are basically just stuck in the rat race and hustling all the time, thinking that the hustle is actually going to bring more money, which is insane, right? Why you do and put more effort into something that do not work? Is it literally proved? It's proved that it doesn't work. How many people are hustling that they don't have any more time for their kids, for their families, for anything they want in their life? But they're still doing it, which is crazy.
It's crazy. And I was just telling, like, you have to be really careful who you take advice from. When I look back now, my high school teachers, who I respect, I enjoyed them, I liked them, they were telling me to go to college and get an education, but their education had them trapped in a job that didn't pay them well. And like they weren't living financially stable. So why did I take financial advice from them? You know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of look at the source. Or if you feel like going out and starting an online business is...
this is insane. Crazy. Like, for example, that example that you just made, like, how many people are taking advices from financial advisors? Like, I mean, okay, bankers. This is so painful for me, like, to even think about. Like, those people are more broke than you are, and they are literally giving you advice how to operate with your money. This is insane.
Yes. If the system wanted us to know how to succeed with money, then Rich Dad Poor Dad would be a mandatory read for every high school student.
Totally. Have you read it? For sure you read it, right?
Absolutely. I need to read it again. It changed my life. I remember I bought that book when I bought that $7 course, and I remember reading it and like at night, like tapping my husband, I'm like, Jay, you're not gonna believe what this is. Like, I was like, why did anybody tell me this? That's how I felt. Exactly. But it's because I was taking advice and I was mirroring my life after other broke people. And I'm like, why would I? why was I taking advice from them?
Yeah.
Like, it would be like getting diet advice from, somebody who weighs 600 pounds. I'm not taking away their value or their
Mhm.
credibility, but if I wanted to learn how to have a healthy diet, I wouldn't listen to someone who is morbidly obese. If you want to learn
Exactly.
how to build wealth,
Like,
you're not going to listen to
yeah,
somebody who can't pay their bills and who has no freedom. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
makes no
Yeah.
sense.
So yeah, that is just insane, insane. Oh my gosh. When it's there was a like when the most important like the most important thing that they don't teach us is literally the financial statement, right? Like just to go a little bit on that side, like money wise and so on. But the thing that you have to like, this is the first thing that I would study, like complete, like to be educated enough about money, because you're gonna make money and what you're gonna do with those money. Like you have to be financially literate to actually to be able to acquire wealth, not just like some type of higher income that's going to end up or puts you into a worse position that you even been before, because like
Mm-hmm.
that's what is happening, right? You can see it from different perspective. People are winning lotteries or whatever, and where they ending up, where are they ending up? Basically in this in a worse yeah, in a worse place that they've been before, right?
Yep.
Because they just don't understand. They borrow they yeah, they just give money to somebody from their family. They buy more and more liabilities, and they ending up bankrupt completely, and even worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
um so that's one of those things. But the second thing that I wanted to share also here is everybody in the world, everyone, like every person in the world has a financial statement. Everyone. If you do not like, the financial statement will work only if there are two or more, right? Does that make sense? Because basically your liabilities is for somebody else's asset, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how it works, right? So you have to really understand what is going on. So but read the book, because like read the rich dad poor dad book, or even like the casual quadrants. That's really like it's really really important to understand this topic. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like let's stay a little bit on that money topic and so on. So tell me, what was your beliefs about money at like at the beginning? What parents told you, what teachers told you, like what even have you been going to church, or have you been like since the beginning, or you just like figured it out
Mm-hmm.
when you get older?
And I'm actively every day working on changing how I feel about money, because like I told you, there's guilt associated with me having it now.
Yep.
But that comes from when I was a kid. My parents, their love story is great. My dad was a coal miner. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we mine coal over here in Kentucky, and my mom, they got married the June after she graduated high school, and she went to work at a local bank. Okay, and my parents always worked hard, but they never had a financial education.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a hard time with this because I don't ever want anybody to think I'm talking negatively about my parents, but we struggled financially.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my brother and I felt that financial struggle as
Mm-hmm.
children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my blocks come from. But I had a scarcity mindset about money. And then once that
Why is
scarcity
that?
mindset,
What is why do you have like, how you can develop scarcity mindset? What happened that you have something like that actually?
when
Have
I
you
think
figured it out
about
already? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think about like I'm afraid that there's not enough money to go around. Right.
Mm,
So it was very hard for me to learn that if I have more money, that doesn't take money away from Adam.
mm-hmm,
And I know that might sound silly, but I felt like if I get wealth, somebody else loses wealth. Or
mm-hmm,
or I was very afraid that money can come but it'll disappear. Like it'll just go. Like I don't know how to say that the right way, but like I felt like, okay, I made this amount of money, but it could just go away tomorrow. This is too good to be true, right? Because
mm-hmm,
I never learned about money and how money
mm-hmm.
works and how money
Yep,
flows and
yep.
how you make money, right? So for me, money was something that I had to work really hard for, and it had to be earned.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I was making a lot more money without working hard for it, I think I didn't feel like I truly earned it, maybe. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like there was enough money for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my scarcity mindset of that was my belief there about that.
Yeah.
I also felt like people who had money were bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way
Mm-hmm.
for me to summarize that. Because I went to church my whole life, and I had to do a lot of work on rich people aren't bad people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I'll just say this, you can't serve anyone. You can't meet people's needs out of poverty. If I don't
Mm-hmm.
have money, I can't buy food for people who don't have food. If I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to buy a warm coat, then I can't buy a coat for my own children, much less kids who need coats.
Yeah.
God, money is not my God, but money is a resource. And
Yeah.
so it is not bad to know how to create wealth.
Mm-hmm.
If you use your wealth for bad, that's bad. But as a Christian and as a kid who was raised this way, I had to do a lot of work relearning and studying for
Mm-hmm.
myself what that
Yeah.
meant. I know now, but I think a lot of people don't realize that even though they think they want to get rich, they think that maybe that's a sin deep down, and it's really
Mm-hmm.
not. It's really not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't even know if I answered your question
No, yeah,
correctly.
yeah, totally, totally. You know, when it comes to money, it's you cannot, it's not who it determines who you are. It doesn't determine who you are, right? Money is more like an amplifier because, like, let's say that other people who are poor and jerks, and they are jerks, are they? For sure, right?
Mhm.
So, and other people who are rich and they're jerks, right?
Yep.
So there is the like, and there are people who are
Still jerks.
also, they have like literally are poor and they are really good people, and then there are also rich people who are really good people. So this is
Mhm.
not actually like the money is not the factor, right? The person who you are is the determining factor, right? The money is more
Right.
like an amplifier,
I
right?
completely agree with that.
It brings the fire brings the fire. It brings the fuel to the fire, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I like. That's my belief towards money and so on, right? Um, and when it comes to also like when it comes to that there is not enough. Have you already figured out how to like deal with that also? Like there is not enough.
Yes. Yeah, I had to figure I actually went to a conference called Faith Over Fear
Uh huh.
a couple of years ago, and it really helped me with a lot of that. But I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
until I learned about money. I
Yeah.
mean, because I think
No,
because
like
I was
money is a
smart.
real topic. Like literally, I'm
Yeah,
I'm glad that you brought it because like this is really important, and like we are taught that do not talk about money, right? Like since
very
the
much.
since the young age, do not talk about money. This is too
So.
confidential or whatever, and that's not true. Like we need to be educated about wealth, not just letting it
Yes,
to just determine like how we gonna live. No, no way, right?
right. Well, and even if you don't make a lot of money, you can still build wealth
Oh
because you
yeah.
have to. And that's what I mean. I was about to say that because I was a smart kid and I made good grades. I thought I should understand what to do with money. But if you're not taught, you might think you know what to do with money, but if you're not taught how money works, then you don't. I
Hmm.
mean, and it goes as basic as I had a savings account at my local bank. I didn't know about a high yield savings account. I thought the savings account was at the bank was great. Nope. I didn't know about, index IULs, like index universal life funds. I didn't know about, compound. I knew about compound interest and how it worked against me, not how it could
Hmm.
work for me.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things, you're not taught those things. And
Hmm.
like you said, we're trained, oh, don't talk about money. That's uncomfortable. When really, I would have been really thrilled if somebody sat down with 17-year-old Sarah and was like, hey, Sarah, you've got a little job right now. And I know that like you want to keep that money for yourself, but let me show you what would happen if you put $30 a week into this investment account and don't
Hmm.
touch it and just
Yeah.
get used to not living. Like start small because I think it becomes so intimidating because it's not talked about that at a certain age, people are like, well, I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. No,
I
totally,
think money
totally.
education is important.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally, totally. Um, I see. We have like maybe another
Yeah,
like 9 minutes, or you good to go now? Oh,
I'm good. I can be on for about 15 more. I'm good for about
okay.
15.
Awesome. All right. So let's talk about parentship, right? How you been dealing with like the way with those limiting beliefs and or the programming basically that, for example, you shouldn't be the provider for your family because that's a role of your husband, right?
Mhm.
Which is like the interesting topic also. Like let's
Yeah.
go that way, and how you, because I don't know, like for example, what your husband's doing or so, but basically like um are you the provider for your family, like, or do you have husband helping you also with what you do, and so on? Just like, yeah, share something with us on that area for sure.
Oh yeah, that's a really good topic too. And I wish I had like Bible verses like ready on the go for that. So there was my husband does work. My husband is really he's very skilled. He's a carpenter, and
Mm-hmm.
I shared very briefly about his addiction, his recovery. For that reason, even though Jay does not have to work financially for our family, it benefits him to work. He's a busybody. He's very able-bodied. This is very interesting. Just last night at church, he's gonna start like it's a God thing. He's gonna start like a mission thing about not only teaching young kids a skill, but also how to improve your community with that skill.
Nice.
And so
Yeah,
Jay
love it.
works. Jay does
Mm-hmm.
provide,
Mm-hmm.
and with you're an entrepreneur with digital income. It's not like getting a paycheck every month. So his what he brings to our family financially does matter as well. As far as like the provider, like on a scale of who makes more money, it's me. I make more money, but the Bible says, we're a team, we're a pair, and so I don't, and I'm sure I fail at this sometimes, but I don't consider myself better than Jay because financially I make more than him. Like Jay is still the leader of our home. I have respect for my husband even when I'm going to buy something for my business. If it's like an investment that's a large amount, I talk to him about it because I respect him and because he respects me too. Whenever we talk about providing, this goes way back to like our caveman ancestors. Like he is my protector. He's the one who, shows my daughter how a husband needs to treat her, and he's the one who shows my son how he is to provide for his family.
Mm,
So I think that's just something that could be different on each relationship. I'm not a relationship expert. I would never say that,
totally.
but there's a respect there. I have met people in our same situation, and I've seen them be like publicly disrespectful to their husband because of their financial gains, and it's uncomfortable for me because
Yeah,
I'm not better or less than because of how much money I make.
of course. Yeah.
Um,
And that's
and
how it's supposed to
also,
be. That's
yeah,
amazing. And
well,
that shows your character, and you are a good person. And this is like, this is the thing. Like, I don't think you should be scared of how much money you have or how much money you make, or if because how many people you actually help already, and how many people that investment towards their financial dream helped actually to bring even more money to their lives. So
mhm.
this is like, I just wanted to bring it up because like you should really be proud of yourself based on what you've done for your family, for other people. And this is like um yeah, just I think you doing such a good
Thank
things
you,
for sure.
Adam.
Totally.
It's really very nice of you.
Totally.
Thanks. I
Totally.
love what I do. If I could
Awesome.
just
Yeah.
make other people do the work, that would be
Oh
great.
yeah. That's this is the mind. this is the mindset thing, and sometimes people pay more attention and more, they do more when they pay more, because
Yeah. Hmm.
you know, it is what it is. But that's what I'm wanting to bring up to you, because this is like, you cannot be sabotage, you cannot sabotage yourself just because how much money you make, because when you start charging more, you're gonna make even also more money, right? But how much more impact it's gonna have on those people, right? Because they actually gonna do the freaking thing, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, but
Yes, I'm actually. My everything's about to get a little higher because I think as an entrepreneur, you always play around with things. Everything's a test, right? Everything's a test. And I have my coaching program at a certain price, and people aren't taking action. And that's the problem. Is
that's
it
a
didn't hurt.
typical, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it hurt them enough financially. I think,
It
and
doesn't hurt
also like
enough. Yeah.
yeah, because I'm telling you right now, I took money out of my savings account to buy that mentorship that I got started with, and I had to make that money back. Like if my
Mhm.
husband at the time, he was self-employed, working for himself, doing construction. I mean, if he had hurt himself and like been, not been able to work for a month, I would have taken money away from my family. That would have made me feel terrible. So I'm not saying I want to hurt people, but if their desire isn't big enough and if they're not hungry enough, it's not going to change their lives. So it's got to be a little bit higher because I'm so invested in the people I want to help. And it's hurtful for me when they give up on themselves right before they're about to have a breakthrough, like,
Yep, yep, yep. There are
but
people who are charging even $25,000 per, to just a starting
and
program.
I mean, what is Tony Robbins an hour? 60,000?
What is Myron Golden?
Oh, I love Myron Golden. I got a picture with Myron Golden. Oh, he is one of my favorite entrepreneurs, and yes, he's an amazing. His talk at Funnel Hacking Live inspired me. He said, "If
Have
you
you
want to
been at
stop,"
Funnel Hacking Live, actually?
I was at Funnel Hacking Live last
Oh,
year. Yes,
me too.
that.
I don't
Um,
know why we didn't, but it's so funny. But yeah, we have even a sign
it's-
there. Can you see it? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking to him for a while there. It was really
Oh,
interesting experience for sure.
so cool.
Yeah, ClickFunnels is really nice. Well, the software is not as good as it could be, but I'm not just saying.
I I use I love ClickFunnels for what I
Yeah,
use it for, but yeah, I've always used ClickFunnels though. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I started with ClickFunnels actually, but with the capabilities of the softwares, the go high level is just so much more, especially like complex stuff. Anyway. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. It was
I'm so
so
glad
so
you're.
so amazing to have you here and talking to you. Um, where people can find you to support you, join your program or get help with affiliate marketing.
I would love they're welcome to join my community on School. That's where I do. I mean, you'll find the classroom full of trainings there, and then I'm active in that community. I'm always sharing like what I'm finding. Like OfferLab is new right now. That's great for beginners with affiliate marketing. I can share that with you so that they're welcome to join my community there. I social media wise, I got started on TikTok. I'm still on TikTok, but Facebook is where I spend a lot of time. So feel
Where is
free.
where,
I'll
where what is your biggest platform actually?
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, yeah. Actually getting some really good tractions there too recently, but it's not my main thing that I do. It's just
What,
like my partners actually.
what do you do? YouTube?
I do um I do a high ticket sales for coaches and consultants. Combination with AI most of the time is like AI driven, all of that. So this is one of the things that I do, but also like I'm tapping into the affiliate stuff because like I love marketing, I love AI. Combining those two things together, so bringing traffic is like one of my um, hobby kind of thing. So I like to study marketing and so on. So I'm just like always around there. Yeah. It's amazing, like starting something like this, like literally having this type of conversation with people. Also, this is another interesting way to start a business without even have to have a, any like investing
Hmm.
to, or like I would say even like it's not even as time consuming as social media when it comes to like Facebook and so on, because you have to really publish quite a bit of the content there. But when you are running this type of shows, you would be surprised how many interesting people I'm able to talk to, and like how many great opportunities you can really get. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, we'll talk for sure again, or
Yeah, I'd love to. That sounds great.
totally.